So for our Bushbanter 2020 first inaugural show, today on the docket we have quarantine. How are you handling? How aren't you handling it? It's pretty tough. Next, we got some signings. We'll go around the league, talk about the other signings that have been going on across the league, as well as it relates to, obviously, your Toronto Maple Leafs. Finally, we'll wrap it up with a little bit of news from around the league, our favorite games we enjoyed from the 2019 season, and then finally what we're looking forward to next year. So hope you enjoy.
I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot actually over the last few days, and I have like a couple of different options and very like I don't know, ideas that could possibly happen. The thought of this league actually starting at the beginning of May, like the Leafs' first game is Sunday, May 3rd.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that is a stretch.
Yeah, possibly. I wonder though. I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, like
a whole other month.
A whole other month, yeah.
Yeah.
But like judging by like what the doctors and stuff seem to like be saying, like I would imagine that they would like baseball's not even starting, like MLB.
But I mean, I think those get like because it's huge crowds. They have to travel so far. Like this is all relatively close. Like it's all Southern Ontario, right?
Yeah,
like Eastern,
but I
Southern
think
Ontario,
especially now that like they've kind of said that there can't even be groups bigger than 5 together.
Right.
Like we've
gotten
down to
5.
That. It's down to 5. We're down to 5. And they're even saying it's okay if you're a family of 5, but that's a stretch. Like they might even question you.
They're like, that's not your son.
So
we're losing Ray.
We're losing Ray.
Ray, you're on. Whoa.
Dude, you just hit like a time warp there. You were like speaking like you were like just chugged a bunch of Quaaludes from the Wolf of Wall Street.
Wait, am I back or am I still?
You're back now. Your complete rant there was just like nonsense.
Oh, that's so crazy because you guys are absolutely perfect, and I must have just like spazzed.
Dude, you were spazzing hard.
It looks totally fine on my computer. That was so crazy.
It wasn't.
So, anyways, what I was saying was, I think especially for the teams that charge for admission, until the number is back up to 200 people can be around each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the other teams probably won't be able to play games unless they try and do like no spectators.
Well, the other
in which case the pits will be the only place to watch games.
That's true. But there's also that other thing that came out again. I don't know if municipalities handle it on its own, but like parks and shit are being like blocked off now.
Yeah, like there's nowhere that they can train. There's nowhere that every tennis court, baseball diamond, playground, walking area, everything is closed now.
Okay.
You guys got like the last tennis game in probably last week.
Oh no, I invented a new game against a brick wall that is going to take off. If people need sports, you come meet me just north of Dundas off Shaw. I'll be brick wall tennising for all to watch. All right, well let's move forward. Obviously, it's a bit of a question mark here for when the season, if the season does start. Obviously, fingers crossed for everyone. You got to stay healthy out there, but it'd be great to have a release of some IBL in our life. So with that said,
could be huge.
With that said, why don't we dive into a few signings that have happened in this offseason? And the one thing I'll tip my bush cap to is to the ever progressive Welland skipjacks. Sorry.
Jackfish.
Always forget their damn names. Jackfish.
They're not worth remembering the name.
Right, exactly. But they did have a Western Canadian basically tryout camp.
What was that?
Happened? Yeah, so they went out to Western Canada and they had little camps. This was obviously before any of this madness happened, and they picked up a few guys of note. One, Jared Mortensen. He's a starting pitcher out of Abbotsford, BC. He was
a Canada player.
He did play on the Pan Am in 2015. He had a few AAA looks with the Durham Bulls and the Fresno Grizzlies. He had a little bit of time with the Astros and Tampa Bay organization. So, they're juicing up their starting roster over there in Welland. Another big signing for them is Chris Shaw, a catcher based out of the Peg in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He's drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in 2015. He then played college as an Oklahoma Sooner for 4 years before he went pro. According to my reports from sources, this kid's a stud defensive catcher with a hell of an arm. So you know that he's going to be blocking balls all day out there.
What's his position? Is he shortstop?
The catcher. He's a catcher, but he can also play some infield. He can also play some infield. This guy's a super utility man.
From the Peg, eh?
From the Peg. It's a little cold, but he still has a bat. Another big signing just down the QEW from us here in Leafland is the Hamilton Cardinals.
That was huge.
An import, Waldis Yakin. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but he did make the opening day roster of the San Francisco Giants in 2009, played with them from 2009 to 2011, made 19 appearances in the goddamn show, boys.
This guy's got question marks. This guy's got question marks.
7 years in the minors. 7 years in the minors. He was bouncing around from single A, double A, sprinkled in some Mexican league. Probably has a few charges he's got to clean up on his hands. But he was last with the Tigers system in 2017. So, this kid's a stud.
Jesus Christ.
So we call him a journeyman. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what? I don't know. That signing by the Cardinals, it sounds dangerous reading it on the IBL website, but I don't know, man. We pulled up his stats. I think we can get at him. I think our boys can get at him. And you know what? It is a tough name to heckle, but
nope, I got one. Waldis, where's Waldo?
Oh yeah. Okay. I like it. And you know what? The good thing is with the quarantine, we have lots of time to really go in depth on rosters and start the heckle game early.
Yeah. Rosters will be kind of early, so we'll be able to really start to study and learn. And
I know if you're any team except for the boys in blue, Toronto Maple Leafs, they like to keep it quiet on the webpage, which hasn't been updated since 2015.
Last tweet was in 2014. Oh man,
I know.
But I'd like to move on to our most recent, which actually hasn't been made official again, probably due to the lack of management on the Leafs IBL website. But the hometown kid, our boy, the reigning MVP, actually two-time MVP in 2014 and 2019. This man has 6 championships under his belt, 3 batting titles in 2014, 2018, and 2019. Also has an MVP in the 25th playoffs. First Barry Baycat player to ever win the Triple Crown, and that was last year with a .453 average, 15 jacks, 47 ribeyes, career high in jacks, by the way. My man, Mr. Jordan Castaldo, welcome home, sir.
Love it.
Unreal. I was just going to try and pull up some box scores because from what I can remember, you know what? Like this is actually pretty big for the Leafs because we really tried to get at this guy last year and the year before that. And he was just shut it down.
The Terminator.
Crank dingers out of the pits. And you know what? I really feel like this guy is going to light it up down there. It is going to be outrageous. I'm calling 30 home runs, even in a shortened season.
30.
I'm saying
doubles the career high.
I'm saying it.
Sets a new IBL record.
I'm saying it right now. I'm
puts Sean Riley in the dust.
Just going for it. Just every game.
Well, probably 2 pops too. He's playing at the Pits a lot. That's not a big stadium.
Yeah, there could be an uptick there. The one thing actually I did like, boys, the Baycats, they're getting a little bit scared. I actually saw something on their website. Will the Baycats repeat in 2020? Let's keep in mind, they've won 6 straight championships.
You know what? They lost their general manager.
You know what the voting says? The voting says 50%. 50 think they will, 50 they won't. keep in mind
How
there's
many
only
people?
actually 44 votes.
44 votes. They got a huge social media presence there.
You know what? This is actually a game-changing year for the IBL. Like, I'm smelling some big moves. And again, back to this whole coronavirus thing. If they do, let's say they do get a season off and there's no import players. Maybe some of the countries still have like pretty heavy travel restrictions. Yeah. They're going to probably get the season going without the imports.
That's true.
And it could be only Canadian talent, which could be a real curveball for, Kitchener Panthers that were heavy on the Cuban pitchers.
Barry had a ton of imports too.
Barry had a ton of imports. Even this new guy,
Welland had a ton of imports too.
Yeah, and they're signing imports right now. Dominican catchers, all this.
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder. Actually, that's a point. Maybe that's why Welland was importing guys from like the West Coast, or maybe I guess that's just a strategy. But I'm wondering if they count as imports coming from BC or coming from Winnipeg, right?
I think so. Question. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Oh yeah, they're Canadian.
Import would be international. Yeah. Like I feel like you
but they have to live there. Like I don't know what the rules are, right? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it an import price to come?
Yeah, that is true. Actually, Ray, to your point, that actually is two dynamic changes with two of the big thoroughbreds that have been dusting the IBL for the last long while. That being Kitchener and Barrie. Kitchener got rid of their former field manager coach. Their new coach, Matt Schmidt, is replacing the former Luke Baker, who led them to consecutive finals in 2018, 2019.
Wow.
Barrie, I don't think they've named a new coach.
Yeah, they did actually. They did.
Did they? Okay, well, they got rid of their former GM and manager, Angus Roy. This guy is going down in IBL lore. I was looking up some stuff on this guy.
He's a lights-out guy, man.
So he pitched for Barrie from 2002 to 2007. He actually was signed by the Bo Sox in 2003, but it obviously didn't play out. He won Pitcher of the Year in the IBL in 2005 and 2006, and actually is on the top 100 IBL players. This guy is a 7-time champ. I don't know.
Serious?
I don't know if he is going to be sitting unemployed for too much longer.
That's unreal.
I wonder, did he get fired or did he just
No. He said that he wanted to take some time and actually spend some time with his family, which, I get
That's code for getting fired. That's just code.
But
after winning his 6th straight championship.
Yeah.
The Baycats have lost a lot of their core roster from last year. I think a lot of their key players, which is going to be really interesting because it's going to be a big change for them. But they're also geared up they got a strong organization, man.
So fundamental.
We got to get up there too. We still haven't made it up. It's like one of the closest places to get to. We get to Kitchener constantly.
Who wants to drive up
to Barrie? No one wants to go to Barrie.
In the summer,
No one wants to go to Barrie at the best of times.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
I know.
So we're gonna touch on favorite games from last year. Do you guys have any in mind?
Yeah,
obviously there was 2 back-to-back games that stick out like a sore thumb for me. They were actually back-to-back at Toronto. One being London, where I don't know if you guys remember, we crawled back and Marcus Necht, he sits all patient in the box with the red fire gloves. Oppo Taco walk-off 3-run jack. The boys went nuts. And then the following game, Barrie comes into town.
That was my favorite game.
Back and forth.
That was my favorite game ever. 5.5 hours.
5 hours. 9 total home runs. Damon Toppoli with his first of the season. And he hit another one like 2 weeks later. Heavy T hit his first of the year. Justin Mara had a grand slam. It was 16-13 final. The wildest game I've ever seen.
16-13. That was my favorite. That was my favorite game that I have seen in the pits ever in my life. It was unreal. And you know what? Finally, after 2 years of watching the Leafs, we finally saw a Leaf win over the Baycats, which was unreal.
Right.
That was the first one that we saw in the pits?
Yeah. We haven't seen a Barrie Baycats loss for 2 years. I went back and pulled up their scores for the last It's brutal. It was brutal. I don't know if you remember some of them. It was like 19
no.
Yeah, there was. We don't want to.
We remember a lot of the beatings. At that point, you're just lying down. You're drinking.
It's dark.
It's dark.
Another favorite which comes to mind was, I think it was probably the first home game of the season last year, which would have been like May 5th. It was like sleet and rain, and it was like 2 degrees. The only people in the park outside of the players were the 4 Bushmen and a homeless guy lying under a tree in right field. And in that game, if you guys remember, Cicatello went yard. In that cold sleet.
I missed that game.
That was huge.
Oh, that was the one. Yeah, that was the one. Ray, you were up at your cottage.
Yeah,
that was the one where Cicatello pitched that game.
He pitched and jacked.
Yeah, and then when it,
But I think the Lazo pitch and jack.
I wasn't there for that, man.
You weren't.
You weren't either.
No, I know.
Yeah, we were up north. Yeah.
You were at the cottage again. Stupid, man.
Yeah. Well, we were all rugged from the night before. Both of us go take our respective naps. Right before we take a nap, we look at the score. We're like, fuck, like we're losing like 5-2. I get up, look at our Bush chat. It's going nuts. I'm like, wait, what? Salazzo pitched? And I'm like, wait. Then he hit a walk-off home run.
Oh yeah, he was crushing it.
Wild. That was wild.
That's amazing.
So as it relates to this year, boys, what obviously, it's a coin flip to see if it's going to happen. But is there anything in your mind that you're looking for this year? Whether it's the strength of the batting order, which I think is the deepest we've seen if we throw Castaldo in the mix.
Well, I don't know. I'd really like to start to see like some of the roster start getting posted online.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
It's sad to get excited when they keep it so quiet on the Leafs webpage when every other team is making signings, they're posting stuff, they're keeping it active. You know what I mean? But I kind of feel like we're going to have most of the core guys back.
I feel like, here's what I want to do this year. This is my big, I think a big one this year is to start to solidify some of these chants and start to share it with some of the tree folk, especially on Sundays, those nice Sundays when we get like a good crowd up there. Kind of try to figure out ways to get them into it too.
Yeah. Well, I think what we should do is now that we finally have social media that isn't Twitter.
Kind of have social media.
Post our chants. Yeah, we don't have a lot of followers, so everyone who wants to follow out there, we got space. We got lots of vacancy.
All right, what's the name it, G? What are we on Twitter and Instagram? What's our handle?
So to follow us on Instagram and
Twitter. There should be
Twitter. It's so at guys, I don't know at the Bushmen being MEN and the number 1. So at the Bushmen 1, it's the same handle for both. We have a massive following of 75 followers on Instagram.
we have 200. But we have 200 followers on our Twitter.
No, we got 121. We picked up one new one today. I don't know who it was, but we picked someone up today.
Nice. We got some. Nice. We picked up somebody on our Twitter that has a blue check mark on them. A new baseball fan.
A verified Twitter account.
Verified baseball. I think he's got big numbers, like 50,000 followers or something.
Oh wait, all right. Well, the Bush is growing, man. The Bush is growing. Well, as it relates to me, I think, what I'm looking forward to this year is obviously an insanely deep batting lineup. Fingers crossed we get everyone back, but also some health. I'd love to have some health this year because I don't know if you guys remember last year, there's a lot of man games missed across the board. We're starting pitching, took a bunch of hits. I know my boy Matty Kakatos. I see your Twitter posts on the daily, putting in work with his brother in the backyard.
Putting in work. I like that. Throwing pitches, getting that speed up. You know what? That's a good point, man. I think a lot of our younger guys had strong years because that we were all checking their Twitter feeds throughout their college seasons this year. And I think, Santos was lights out. Takamatsu was totally lights out. Johnston was awesome.
Sick arm. He's got a cannon. He has some jacks. He has great family. It's all good. So with that said, I guess we'll put a bow on this first inaugural banter from the bush.
I like it.
All right.
Hope to see everyone when we next resume this.
All right. See ya.
Cheers.